Hello all, and welcome to this video. Today it's not going to be an ASMR video, but a advice ramble video. So I wanted to make this video for you introverts out there, because I think it can really help. I hope it can. And basically it's just going to be about what runs through an introvert's mind during a social situation. Because it's happened to me so many times recently where I've just thought, what the hell is going on in my head? That I am currently sat in my room alone. So I wanted to run through a list of things that goes through my head, and I hope that you resonate. And if you do resonate, then you can follow the advice that I've followed myself. I have some notes, so let's get started. So I got to thinking about my lack of social skills recently and realised I need to come to terms with exactly what is going on in my mind during these episodes. What's going on in an introvert's mind? As I analysed the typical situation of social interaction, I came up with these stages my mind takes every time I am faced with new people, strangers. So, number 1. Oh, a person. I should try and talk to them. Number 2. Wait a minute. They look a little bit, insert here what they look. Sad, happy, confident, too confident. Annoying, moody, lonely. Lonely's good. We like lonely. Maybe I shouldn't talk to them. The third thing that I think when I'm around new people, this is if it happens. Oh, okay, I've started talking. How did that happen? I hope I didn't sound weird or awkward. Every time. Number 4. Are they looking at me? Do they see my awkwardness or my shyness? Number 5. Okay, maybe not. But what do I say next? What if they start asking me really personal questions? What if I get really embarrassed? This is so funny to say out loud. I've never done this before, so I think this is very enlightening for me. Number 6. Do they like me? Do they think I'm cool? Do they think I'm interesting, confident, nice enough? Am I being nice enough? Number 7. Can they sense I'm really an introvert and usually really shy, but I'm just faking it? Point on point, every single one of those is what happens to me every time I meet a big group of people. I meet someone new, I'm in the room with someone new that it just happens. As well as many more thoughts, but these ones seemed prevalent. So, once we get past this stage, we are generally okay. A few of these questions creep in again here and there during socialisation, such as, am I being quiet? Am I talking enough? This happens to me. Even if I've talked to someone for a day, the next day I might wake up and I might start thinking, oh shit, am I being sociable enough? It takes a while for those thoughts to go away. But generally, once the chit chat is over, we are good to go, and once the big guns come out, such as the philosophical and deep talks, then we are in our element. I'm saying we because I feel I speak for the majority of introverts, but I don't know. So, that's a whole lot of crap that's going through an introvert's mind whilst talking to you, as well as trying to concentrate on what you're saying and trying to think about what to say next. So you wonder why we're quiet sometimes. That's exactly why. It's because this chatter is going on in our heads the whole time. It's hard. But there's also the other factor to take into account, which is that introverts are usually quite sensitive people, and with sensitivity comes being able to feel everything. I can feel what you feel when you're near me. Your energy becomes my energy. That's just the way it goes unless I know how to shield myself. So there can be an overstimulation from all these different things coming in. If we're in a chilled environment, it's nice lighting, it's very quiet, it's chilled. Without a doubt, an introvert's going to be a lot more sociable. If we're in an environment with really loud things going on, loads of people, so many things to look at, words aren't going to be formed, honestly. And yeah, that's pretty much how it goes. So that process, those 7 steps that I named just there, is what happens every time we meet someone new. Generally, if it's just one person, we're okay. If it's a group of people, we're not so okay. I can't think of anything worse than walking into a room full of people and trying to wait for a cue in the conversation to try and talk, because all of my awkwardness and my randomness comes out and I start to panic and I start to think, shit, I need to get in this conversation now. And I've had traumatic past experiences of having said something and been like, what the fuck? And so, in turn, always remembering that when I'm in a social situation and never opening my mouth, because it's much easier to stay quiet and stay mysterious than to open my mouth and sound weird as fuck. So I thought this was funny when I was writing it last night. I was in that hostel full of hundreds of people. There was a club right below my head. They were all partying, and I just thought to myself, right, I need to get to the bottom of this. What is happening to me in these social situations? And that's pretty much it. So I have no concrete advice to give you, I'm afraid. But, well, nothing that's going to take away these thoughts every single time, because unfortunately this is, I think, almost a genetic thing. But that's okay. We've come to love it, we've come to learn about it, and we are just different than extroverts, but it doesn't mean that we're not good or that we should judge ourselves. No. So here's a couple things, 5 things that have worked for me before when I've been in these situations and something has just miraculously changed and I've been able to be really sociable and make people think I'm an extrovert. Mood. There are some days I wake up and I can talk to anyone. I don't know how it happens, I don't know why it happens, but it happens. Very few and far in between, and I can't always get myself to do that. Usually it's involuntary. But if you're in a good mood, it helps a hell of a lot to be able to socialise with people. If you're in a bad mood, generally you just come across as being in a bad mood. Number 2 is distraction. This is a weird one. And I talked to a friend about it and they said they experienced the same thing. So I'll share it with you. If I have a distraction in a social situation, such as, here's my example, I was in a hostel and I went into the lounge where there was lots of people, and instead of panicking about the fact that I'm going to need to try and talk to these people and how am I going to do it and all of that, I focused on the fact that I was actually really ill. I had this cold, it was way worse, and so the only thing that mattered to me was the fact that I was ill and I just wanted to sit there and watch TV. And so what happened is I was so focused on the fact that I had a distraction from these thoughts that would usually pile up when I'm in a social situation and lead to me not speaking at all. I just spontaneously talked to people. And I was like, this is what extroverts do. This is how they do it. They don't need a distraction, they can just do it. But yeah, I just talked with everyone. And obviously I was in a bit of a shit mood because I was really ill. But I was really happy to be like, not having to focus on what goes on in there. Number 3, I've mentioned this before in another video, and it's cool. I can't say it works 100%, but you can trick your mind just as you can trick your mind to do anything. When you're in a situation where you feel uncomfortable, you look at people and you think, oh God, they're not like me, how do I talk to them? Number 3 is pretend that they're family. It's worked for me before a couple times. I'll be in a situation and I'll look at that person and be like, oh God, they're so intimidating. I don't know how to talk to them. I don't know what to say. I feel just lost. I try and switch my mind and be like, okay, what would I do if that was my dad right there? Or what would I do if that was my mum right there? How would I talk to them? I'd just be like, hello, and just be so open and so free and so just talk about shit. Not shit, but, be able to talk about whatever the hell I want. Because that doesn't happen in the majority of situations. Number 4. This is hard and it takes effort. You have to force yourself into public places. It's easy to just find a quiet place where no one's going to be, and you're allowed to do that sometimes. But when your mind starts nagging you and telling you that you're not being sociable enough and you need to go out and socialise, then you need to force yourself into those public places and Alright, take a laptop if you need to, take a book, take any distraction that means that you won't feel awkward if it's going to help. But at least put yourself in that situation, because you never know. You might look away from your laptop for a few minutes, you might look at someone, and you might start talking. And finally, this is personal, something that I do, that I really dislike myself for. I will have negative thoughts come up towards people. For instance, I'll hear a girl laugh and I'll think to myself, God, that's a really annoying laugh. Don't laugh like that, please. In my head, obviously. But really what it is I'm making a negative comment about her in my head because I feel jealous that she is actually in a group of people being sociable and laughing. Alright, there's some instances where, there really is just annoying people and, you don't necessarily have to think really nice thoughts about them, but you also don't need to think negative thoughts about them either. But I think a lot of social anxiety comes from us just thinking negative thoughts about people that are confident. I might look at someone and be like, God, they're so confident. I wish I was like them. So instead of thinking, oh, that person's annoying, I'm not talking to them, try and turn it on its head and look at that person and be like, wow, they're really confident. I wish I had that confidence. Just admire them instead of thinking something negative, because I do it all the time. I see people and I'm like, there's certain people that are sociable that are still nice, and I can be like, oh, I like that person. But there's also people that are sociable that are come across as obnoxious to me, but really they're not being obnoxious. It's just I have a high judgment when it comes to people in social situations, and that is reflected in the fact that I judge myself terribly in social situations. When I meet someone new, I'm just like, okay, you have to be the best. You have to do this, you have to do that. You have to be really cool, you have to be this. And if I say something I don't like, it's like, fuck, what did you just say? And, yeah. And that's it, friends. That's it. I hope that was entertaining or helpful or something, because that is truly getting to the deeper parts of what an introvert feels. And no, I'm not gonna decide that I don't like people or that I'm just a loner who needs to be alone all the time. No, I'm not that person. I'm a balance. I want to be an ambivert. I want to be able to be an extrovert when I want to be one, and I want to try and balance it out, because no, I don't like it when introverts don't try to. I do it. I've done it. I sometimes will say to myself, no, it's okay, you're an introvert and there's nothing wrong with that, so people can just go and suck it. If I don't want to talk to them, I don't have to talk to them. But then a few moments later I'm like, yeah, well, that doesn't seem right. I mean, we're in this world to share with people, to talk to people. Without people in my life, I wouldn't want to live. As much as I love my solitude, I wouldn't want to live. So it's just about introverts trying to balance it out. And don't get me wrong, it might seem like introverts are always getting the hard time in the society. Society wants extroverts. But if you look at extroverts, they have their flaws too. And with introverts not being very good at socialisation, it's not necessarily a flaw, and you shouldn't judge it that way. It's just a uniqueness that you have to try and understand and work with. And using those steps I just taught you, you might be able to understand yourself a little bit better. observe those thoughts when they come up and just laugh about it. Because extroverts struggle with things that introverts are naturals at, such as being alone, and such as finding self-confidence in our ability to go inward and have joy from the simplest of things that only take place in our minds. Anyways, that's about it. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed that. I didn't want to make it ASMR because, well, I have a feeling this video might reach quite a few of you anyways, and I didn't want to make that into a relaxing video because, yeah, doesn't work. So I hope you enjoyed it anyways. Yeah. Hopefully I represented you alright. And now I'm gonna go. So, peace and love to you all. Take care and try not to judge yourself so much. We're all in this together.